Hello, it's Sue Stiles here, owner and founder of Maximize Results Business Consulting and host of Hindsight's 2020. Welcome to my first episode. And I just wanted to create a show talking about hindsight. What are the lessons we learn when we look back? And even just getting ready for this show, I have to think of my mom and thank my mom. She's been so great over the years. She was a single parent herself, and we grew up poor. But I just had a visit with her out in BC, and as I was getting ready today, she had told me, Sue, there's this new lipstick at MAC. You should go and have a look and see. It would be a perfect shade for you. You see, my mom, she went and got her aesthetics license when we were growing up as kids and has enjoyed inner beauty and outer beauty our whole lives. So she's always telling me about makeup. So I go to MAC and I try on this lipstick, and it's called Speak Louder, which is awesome because I'm a speaker. I'm like, Mom, this is perfect, but MAC didn't have any in stock. So I waited a while. I went to a few other MACs. Turns out they discontinued their Speak Louder lipstick. This happens to me all the time. So I'm crying to my mom, they discontinued this. Well, on my visit, my mom goes to her purse and she says, Sue, I want to give you this lipstick. It's your destiny. You're supposed to speak louder. And I'm wearing it today, and it's the perfect shade. Mom, you've given me a lot of things right up until this week. You gave me the lipstick right out of your purse. Now that's a giving, loving mother, isn't it? But I digress. I was just thinking of that this morning when I started. So I wanted to start this. I'm going to do 8 episodes, and I'm going to interview people from all over, businesses, with all different kinds of expertise, all different kinds of ages, and just talk to them about what the hindsight is that they have discovered, the wisdom that they have obtained from looking back at their experiences, good, bad, and otherwise. And to start off today, I wanted to share, in 2010, I did my first speech since going through a really hard time, since divorce, single parenting, and being bankrupt. I wanted to give back after I got a job and wasn't bankrupt anymore. And so I spoke to the Calgary Food Bank and said, thank you for helping us. We needed to go and get food from the food bank a few times, and I appreciated it. And I shared a story about Jimmy Pattison. You can still see it on YouTube if you put it in, Sue Stiles Speaks at the Calgary Food Bank. But I shared a story about Jimmy Pattison. And when he was starting his business, he needed to go and get a loan. And he applied to the bank twice and got rejected. They wouldn't give him money to start the car dealership, his dream, which he is infamous for today. And on his third trip to the bank, that bank manager, who saw Jimmy in person, he knew there was something of value in him. He thought that Jimmy could pull off this dream to create a car dealership. And he actually went and accompanied Jimmy Pattison to go see the head bank loans manager and talk to him and vouch for Jimmy, and was a pivotal part of him getting his first loan to build a business. And Jimmy himself said, what he learned was that you can't do anything alone. I mean, what great wisdom. And we need so much help for each other that I don't think we're getting as much anymore. I just think, gosh, when I went through all my hard times, I had to move to a new city with all the kids. I did not have friends in my new city. I did not have family. And how much easier might it have been if I would have had more support? We have also been losing the multi-generational input, where families live together or live close together, and we, go for Sunday dinners and sit around a table and everybody's talking and everybody's sharing and giving around ideas. We are losing that and have exchanged it for a false social community with so much social media that is available at our fingertips, that is entertainment for us. And we have limited the amount of visiting in person, and we have turned to, everyone has a cell phone at their fingertips for that community, but it is not a real community. It is rather fictitious. I mean, I enjoy going on social media as much as the next person, but I see a need to get back to sharing our wisdom, multi-generational, and being there for one another. So I want to grow my community. I want to help you grow your community and give people ideas. So I thought, from the first episode, what if I looked back? Is there anything that I learned that I would like to pass on? What would I tell myself 20 years ago to make my life easier, to make me feel like I could do it and get through it? Well, when I look back, the first thing that my mind went to was when I was about 17, I got a job at Le Chocolat Belge in Vancouver, actually in the Surrey location at Guildford Mall, close to my house. And for a year, I was working in retail, helping people buy the most delicious chocolate you've ever had and wrapping up their beautiful boxes. And that year, I ate so much chocolate. Every time I wanted a chocolate, we had a discount. And if the chocolate started going a little bit old, where the cocoa rises to the top and it starts getting white and powdery, it's still good to eat, but people don't want to buy it because it doesn't look so good. So we got discounts on the discounts. I ate so much chocolate. But when I look back, I feel like I am so glad I ate that chocolate when I wanted the chocolate. So often we deny ourselves, the stuff that we think is bad for us. Well, I ate that chocolate and I'm so glad I did. I ate it when I was 17 years old. It did not make a lick of difference in my body. I enjoyed the chocolate. And to tell you the truth, now I'm 50, I actually don't crave chocolate as much anymore. My taste buds have changed. And so now I don't want the chocolate as much anymore. So I am so glad that I ate the chocolate when I wanted it. And when I look back, I would say to anybody, you know what? If you want to have some chocolate, eat the chocolate, because you don't know if you have another day left. You don't know if your taste buds are going to change. So go ahead and enjoy the pleasures of food. Don't deny yourselves as much, within reason, of course. The other thing that my mind went through was growing up in poverty. We didn't know that we were poor. It was just life. But then after I got married and going through divorce and being responsible for the money, I knew that we did not have very much money. And I had to claim bankruptcy. And that was a whole sad story and very, very hard times. But when I look back, I have to admit, do you know there are gifts in poverty, and gifts that being in that state brought? When you don't have the money to give, you really have to dig down and find the value that is in yourself, because all you can give is the value in yourself. And so a few things that we learned in poverty that I think were real gifts were the lessons about materialism. When it came to buying gifts and birthday gifts and having enough money to buy stuff, sometimes the stuff that you buy really isn't that meaningful. And I'll never forget, it was my sister's husband, Uncle Adam. It was his birthday in a particularly bad year for us. And he always loved his coffee and Starbucks and a few special things. But there, honestly, I did not even have $5 for a Starbucks card. And so I said to all the kids, I have 4 kids, 3 girls and 1 boy. And I said, guys, here is some paper and some pencil crayons. Please make your Uncle Adam a birthday card and tell him what you like about him, and just, color a picture and make it really good, because we don't have the money to buy a present. And I will never forget giving Adam all these homemade birthday cards, and his kids were really young at this time, so he wasn't benefiting from that at home. But the effort and the things that the kids said in the cards about him, how they loved him, what they thought about him, how he made a positive impact in their lives, really moved him. And, sometimes it's hard to get a gift that guys like. And those cards really said a lot. I bet he still has them. That's the kind of gift that has value, those little personal touches. So, don't always have to worry about buying someone a new fancy coffee maker or new clothes or new car or a new watch. If you haven't spent time giving the value that's in yourself, I would encourage you to remember sometimes just a good card, really sharing out of your heart why you love a person. I mean, that's a card that people will keep. Another thing when we were short of money and short of time was my inability to take our kids on holidays. And now I just came back from a holiday. We thoroughly enjoy it. I'm so appreciative that we can afford to take a drive and go stay somewhere else. Well, there was a time that we could not afford that. And I knew it. I knew there wouldn't even be money to get gas in the car to go visit family and take a drive, even where we could stay and eat for free. And at those times, during that year, particularly the bad year, I thought the most important thing was that one-on-one attention to give the children, to give each other, to give our family. And what we ended up doing was just having Sunday date days. So I had 4 kids, one Sunday a month was each kids. We would just go on a routine like that. And when it was your turn, I would take you out and we would just do whatever you and I wanted to do. Maybe we'd go watch planes flying at the airport or go get an ice cream downtown, listen to some entertainment at Eau Claire. Whatever it was just one-on-one quality time. Is date time with mom. And although I thought, gosh, that's all I can give you, it was all I could give them. And those were some really special times and fed the spirits of all of us. We had really good times. Another thing was I never had money to send my kids to lessons. They got to do the free stuff, the school stuff, the community things that were not expensive. But when I was a kid, I got to take cooking lessons, I remembered, over the summer, and I really enjoyed that with my friends. So I was kind of feeling sorry for myself. I can't send my kids to cooking classes. What am I going to do? They don't know how to cook. I don't have time. But what I thought was, if I scheduled ahead and time blocked in my calendar, we could take a couple of hours each week and we'll do cooking classes at home. And my older kids were teenagers at this time, so they had no interest. So the younger two each were allowed to bring a friend, invite a friend to cooking classes at our house. And we did cooking classes, made a meal, all learned together, and then sat down and enjoyed a meal together. So, if you feel like things are tight right now, if the market's bad, if your business is bad, if you're just starting out and you're bootstrapped, don't ever worry that you don't have enough money to make a difference in your family's life. You can find that value that's in yourself and just share that. Share what you have. It will make a difference, and you'll look back and you'll be thankful that you did. And the last idea that I had when I looked back that I would tell myself or someone else is, don't wait for somebody else to make your dreams come true. There was a lot of times when I felt helpless and hopeless, and I didn't feel like I could make my dreams come true. And I'd be looking for work, or I'd have ideas that I wanted to have happen, and nobody was there saying, oh, Sue, come and host this TV show. Oh, Sue, here, I'll help you make a documentary. Oh, nobody was reaching out to me and saying, I'll make your dreams come true. And over the years, when I've had ideas, I have been frustrated that I've had to really find the power or the ability within myself to make my ideas and my dreams come true. But when I look back, I see how each thing I've learned has helped me get to a new level of competence and experience. For example, many years ago, maybe 30, I made a CD. So I used to be a musician of sorts, and I wrote a bunch of songs, and I loved singing. I sang in a band, but I wanted to produce this album, and I thought, there's no way. I have no idea how to make an album. I can't hire a band. And, eventually the idea was just so strong. I went and bought myself a Korg keyboard, which has all of the other instruments within the machine. I learned how to use the machine. And I made a CD, with 14 of my own original songs. I still have a bunch of boxes in the garage. But I learned stuff when I was doing the CD. And then when I did a documentary on divorce, I had to find that creativity within myself to get help editing, to get help filming, to do it on a low budget. But I used some of the information I learned from the music CD to do my divorce documentary, and I probably have a whole box of those in the garage somewhere. And then what I learned doing that documentary, I brought to doing my books. So I've written 2 books, and every time I learn something new, and I have found this ability within myself that when I have an idea, I can make my dreams come true. And so can you. Whatever your dreams are, you have the ability within yourself. And if it's strong enough, you can find a way. Yes, you might need to find support. Yes, you might need to find experts around you. Yes, you might need to put some money behind your project. But every time you do and you step out in faith, there has always been a benefit in my experience. In fact, even this show, Hindsight's 2020, this was an idea I had a year ago, driving on holidays, listening to a radio program, and I got this idea in my head. Wouldn't that be a good show? I would love to watch what other people would say about the hindsight when they look back. What would they tell themselves? What were the mistakes that they maybe felt that they made? And I have mulled that idea over a year until it just became so loud in my head, and through the prompting of a few friends that I've mentioned it to, now I'm creating it. I don't have a production crew. I don't have a bunch of film editors. I have found a way just to create it, and I'll put it up on YouTube, and I hope people will enjoy it like I would have enjoyed somebody doing this show when I look back in hindsight. So do not wait for somebody else to make your dreams come true. And the only thing when I looked back and I was thinking, do I have any, regrets or things that I maybe wouldn't do again? And, for me, family is a very high value, and loving the children and hoping that they are wholesome and healthy human beings when they grow up. I mean, you never know while you're parenting teenagers. But one time I started dating again after the divorce, and this guy had a trip to Florida, and he wanted to take me. And I thought, whoa, opportunity for a holiday, but he was going to be gone a whole week. And I was just, head over heels and thought I wanted to go for a holiday. And I took time off and I went for a trip to Florida. However, always just had a little glitch in my gut that, that was too long to leave the kids. I was being selfish at the time. And I know how to be selfish in balance. But when I look back and I took that time away from my children just to go on a holiday with some guy who I didn't end up marrying, I think, you know what? If I could go back and tell myself, I'd say be a little more wise in your judgment of how you spend your time when you have family around you. I know being a single parent is very challenging. You have to look after yourself. But I think that's probably the one big thing when I look back, I'd say, I wish I wouldn't have gone away. And ironically, I don't think the children really even remember. But you know when something is in your gut, you have a glitch in your gut about what's right and what's maybe not right for you to do at the moment. So listening, I guess, to your gut would be a little bit of wisdom that I'd like to share. I hope that you found a little bit insightful, just sharing a little bit from my past. I'm really looking forward to my next guest. I'm going to have 7 more episodes. Tune in, share it with your friends, share it with your family, and let's begin a conversation of multi-generational, sitting around having conversations about hindsight. Where do you find your wisdom from? And let's build up those in-face, person-to-person relationships, as well as the social media, yes. But hindsight tells me that we are missing some of that real conversation amongst real family, real generations, real people looking back. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's my episode for today. I'll see you next time on Hindsight's 2020. And for today, that is a wrap.